Bonjour et vive la France. Vive la Révolution and happy Bastille Day to everyone who's into all that. Today, we're going to talk about beer. I don't even know if the French like beer. They're all about wine. Are you feeling like celebrating Bastille Day or drinking today?
Hello. I know that Bastille Day is some kind of symbolism, like a birthday for the Republic. And the French I knew, they loved it. Not sure about beer, as you mentioned, they are all about wine. But then again, I didn't know many French people, so I could be wrong. Tell me, why celebrate Bastille Day? What do you know about it?
Okay, now you want me to do a discussion of the history of political revolutions. I love to discuss
just give me bullet points, just a few of them. Why
Is that
celebrate
possible?
it? Is it not? I'm not.
Okay,
I thought.
Okay. Are you listening? Are you even listening? I don't think you're listening. Okay, so when a baby is born, people go, "Wow, look at that baby," and everybody celebrates. And when there's a sunrise, oh, it's a new day. Everybody celebrates. The birth of a nation is a celebration, like the birth of the United States of America or the birth of Mexican Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution. Revolution is about a new chance to create a society with some different ideas. You said you wanted it brief.
Yeah. Well, it's like that in Norway, I think. And but anyway, yeah. What I know that before the Bastille Day, France was ruled by a king named Louis. 16th,
No,
maybe 15th, I don't remember.
14th, Louis Quatorze. 14th, the 14th, Louis Quatorze. He built Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors, Marie Antoinette. People didn't even have bread to eat, and she said, let them eat cake. So they dragged them to the guillotine and said, off with their head. Cut off the head of the monarchs. It's like
Why do they call it Bastille? Because Bastille, I think it was, it used to be a castle or a fortress, and then it became a prison. And when they just brought it down, because it was a symbol of oppression, I think, and that's why it's called the Bastille Day, because they overran the Bastille and sent a message to the king.
Yeah, they did that.
So today, people of France have, I apologize, maybe I'm not on the subject, maybe I drifted off, but I need to know this, because Russia and French, they have lots in common, and both had revolutions, which I'm not going to judge either, but what I was going to say that apparently the French celebrated today as the moment when the people turned to liberty, equality, and fraternity, right?
Yes, and also in all over France, especially Lyon, Paris, and Marseille, they are burning cars in the streets, looting buildings, tearing down everything because of the economic and political situation in France. So it is especially a dangerous day today in France. Innocent people are getting hurt. Their cars and shops are getting like vandalized. And the people are angry because of some situations going on. So revolutions do not start just because people want to raise hell or go out and like just bust up stuff. They raise hell because things have got to change because they cannot get any worse. So it is an inborn need in man to revolt against oppression. It is against human dignity not to be able to feed your family or to have a job. I'm all about revolution. I'm thinking of like revolting against petromotherapy and getting right back on topic, beer.
Right. What is the culture, I mean, the beer culture and the attitudes towards beer in France? Tell me.
Well, I didn't drink beer in France. I'm in Texas.
But you've been to France.
Yeah, I've been to France. In my opinion, the French don't much care for Americans. They're complete snobs. If you order a beer, they think that's ridiculous. Everyone drinks wine. You know, you must drink wine, or you're some kind of like uncivilized barbarian from Texas. And I went at different ages. When I was 15, I went when I was 21. I went when I was 31. I've been to France many times, and I never drink wine. If I drink wine, I'm gonna go to Italy. I drink wine in Italy.
Do you drink champagne?
Well, yeah, I like champagne and I like Asti, yes, Spumante, and I like all that. Yeah, I like Brut. Yeah, I drink champagne. But just, wine, I don't really prefer wine. Also, I'll have an allergic reaction and die at the table. So I have to really, really want a glass of wine before I'm willing to die. I'm not really a champagne person either. Like I'm more like tequila and whiskey and beer.
Well, that's why you're a Texan, American.
Excusez-moi?
That's why, I mean, because you're an American, right? And you're from Texas, you're Texan.
Okay, we've already gone over this. I didn't live most of my life in Texas, and I do not have a Texas accent. Je peux parler un peu français.
I wish I would have lived my life in Texas. I would have been like Matthew McConaughey. I love him.
Yes.
Not particularly. I think he's from Dallas, maybe from Houston even, or maybe from Austin.
That is what he was voted one of the sexiest men alive. And somebody said that Macron was sexy. That guy is like skinny and like washed up. He's too thin. Matthew McConaughey, he has a family, he has a ranch, he knows how to talk politics. He's been a guest professor at the University of Texas. He's got great arms. He likes to go fishing and hunting, and he likes for people to talk about Texas, to sit down and talk about what's going on. And, people kept wanting him to possibly run for governor. But yeah, he's a great guy. I would go anywhere with him.
Do you think he drinks beer?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, he drinks beer. Yeah, that guy drinks everything. He works out, he runs. He's like the ultimate man. All men should start following Matthew McConaughey, and their lives will be better. They should get different wives. They should get different children. You should get a trailer, start living in a trailer, get boats, jet skis. He's really,
you mentioned him as being the professor at the University of Texas. I mean, what is Matthew McConaughey could possibly teach at the university?
Oh my God, everything you know is wrong.
No, seriously.
Okay, no, I am serious. I'm telling you, he is a film star. He is an actor, and he was invited by the president of the University of Texas to be a guest professor to teach a section of film studies, to discuss filming and movies and acting. And the course was so popular, it was given in a lecture hall with maybe 200-300 students, that it was offered again and again and again. And then, actually, I think it's kind of all politics, because a lot of politicians in Washington come out of Texas, like, LBJ and the Bush crew. But McConaughey, he's a talented, charming man, and he was invited by the university president to come teach one course. And he went there, and they give honorary professorships and honorary degrees. All kinds of people all over the world have gotten honorary degrees because of their contribution to the university, or because of their contribution to the world of academics. So, he hosts little seminars for students to come and talk about their ideas. So he's not the kind of professor who's up in the ivory tower in his office with the door shut. He's with the people, for the people, and about the people. And I think he has a great future in politics, should he choose to go there. Everybody loves Matthew McConaughey. I mean, everyone.
A few years ago, I fell in love with this TV show called True Detectives. He was like the main movie star in it.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there talking about something, having beer, six pack, I guess. And I remember the brand actually. I'm not sure if that's Texas. I'm sure it's Texas because the Texas is called Lone Star State, right?
Yeah, Lone Star beer is the probably
Lone
that's
Star
what they
beer.
would have that's what they would put in. And there's a bar in Austin. It's called the Broken Spoke, and George Strait has played there. Willie Nelson, all these people. So many university students go to the Broken Spoke, and the classic beer to drink there is Lone Star. Now, my daughter, I have two daughters. They both went to the University of Texas, and have taken courses about like Texas and politics, Italian film, political theory. They've taken all kinds of like high power intellectual stuff. But when Melissa went up to New York, a lot of people thought that Texans were just, living on ranches, but she showed them that, Texas is the Lone Star state, and what starts here changes the world. And the Lone Star beer, if you're standing there, if anyone that would see you in a bar holding a Lone Star would say, that's a Texan. Now, personally, I don't think Lone Star has a really good taste. I prefer Shiner. I like Modelo. That's a Mexican beer. I like Dos Equis. I like IPAs. But Lone Star, yeah, you were right to spot that. And it's a symbol of Texas, the Lone Star State.
Did you say Shiner? What's that? Shiner? Is that another brand?
Yeah, Shiner Bock. Germans came to Texas in the 1800s. Immigrants into Texas around Austin, Fredericksburg, San Antonio. So there's German immigrants coming into Texas, and they brought with them the beer making tradition, the kolache making tradition, the sausage making tradition. And Shiner Bock is a like a goat that has these curled horns. So it's a brewery right outside of Austin and San Antonio, and it is a German. It was founded by Germans, and it's still being produced today. Very, very popular. Now, if I'm going to go into a bar and order a beer, my classic beer is Shiner Bock. Shiner. I mean, I like the idea of a Lone Star, but a Lone Star isn't as bold as a Bock, Shiner Bock.
Yeah, you also said Mexican is good. I've never tried Mexican beer. Which brand would you recommend, like consider to be the best?
Well, I think most people, the gold standard would be Modelo. If you like it dark, get Modelo Negra or Negro. It's a little bit darker. Or just get the classic Modelo. And it has a really nice, holding it in your hand feels really good. It's got kind of a wide base on it, Modelo. And then another
I remember when pandemic hit, everybody making jokes of Corona. I guess Corona is too, like Mexican beers too, right?
Yeah, I really like a Corona. Corona is really good. And as we're coming out of the pandemic, people started ordering it again. And generally, we drink it served cold in the bottle with a lime on the top. So you squeeze the lime into the beer, and then you bite the lime. No, what do? The bottle is handed to you and has a lime on the top, and the bottle's cold. So what you do is you take the lime off and you bite it, and then you drop the lime into the bottle, and it makes a little bubble. But I like Modelo. I like Corona. I also like Dos Equis, which means two X's. So Modelo, Corona, Dos Equis, La Victoria is good. And probably about a month or so ago, we did a episode about all these beer coasters. And I think you liked the picture of the La Victoria beer, but that's not as well known.
Yeah, I remember pandemic hit, and before pandemic, I went to the gym. Like I used to go to gym very often. A pandemic hit, my gym closed. I thought, what am I doing now? What am I going to do? And I think my beer intake has increased exponentially at the time. I was like, I told myself I would work out, but beer was such an easier way to to get myself, I
No,
don't
it
know.
was terrible. We all put on weight because there was like, I operate in like, the art and the music world, and I'm on different committees and I meet people and I help them get scholarships and do all this stuff. So if I'm not out in the world, like I'm doing nothing because I'm not at a single job at a desk. And then, the only thing that was open during the pandemic was grocery stores and auto repair shops and liquor stores. There's this one liquor store very near to my house. It's called Goody Goody. And that place was packed. You could drive by and the cars there would be a huge grocery cart that would have like 10 cases of beer in it. Or a woman would be coming out with like, not just holding one 6-pack, but like a shopping cart that had like beer, vodka, tequila, because everyone was at home. And some of these houses were only socializing with their next door neighbors. So if there's a big brick house next to another big brick house, and they both have a swimming pool and a barbecue pit, well, they spend all their time just getting meat and beer and food for the kids. So people, I live by myself, and so I like to cook. I like bourbon and coffee. I put on, I probably, I've taken it off since then, but I put on easily, 50 pounds in 18 months because my gym was closed. I would try to go to a parking lot and do push-ups against the back of my car or do lunges in the parking lot, but everything was closed. And it was just like, everybody was overweight. And then when we were coming out of the pandemic, you'd see people, it's like, wow, you look heavier. It was terrible. It was terrible. But yeah, beer is easy to drink. And people don't have the association of beer as being really bad. Like, oh, let's just have a couple beers. Well, no one can drink 1 or 2 beers. It's easy to put away a 6-pack. People can drink 6 beers.
Yeah, six beers is like a juice to some people. Also, it depends maybe. Yeah. But 6 beers every day, I think it's a bit too much, isn't it?
Well, not if you're a Texan. We drink a lot of beer, and it's hot, and we sweat. My friend David Anton, him and his girlfriend Haley, they always get the 18 packs, the big 18 packs, because they are very physical. They like to ride bicycles. They like to do hiking. They like to run. They like to jog. And their theory of beer drinking is as long as you can keep running and jogging and wake up in the next day, you can drink as much as you want. You can just there's places where you jog and you ride your bicycle. It's called the Katy Trail. If you arrive from a jogging or running or hiking on the Katy Trail, there's this beer house that also sells like hamburgers and chicken too. They'll give you $1 off on your beer. So let's suppose it's a $5 beer and you just got off of a bike ride and now the beer is $4. After you've been on a 40-minute bike ride, how many beers do you think you could drink for just $4 each? You could sit there easily, drink and eat for a couple hours.
Yeah. I remember the guy I knew this guy at the gym. He one day he asked me if he'd be okay working out after a couple of beers. I said, how do I know? I mean, it's you who had beers there. But I've seen him on a treadmill after that. I think he can do treadmill okay, but I told him just not to get drunk and then try to I don't know, some kind of a bench press, right? Because treadmill is you're just running, not if you're not like heavily drunk. Because if you're drunk, you wouldn't be able to stay on treadmill.
Different levels of drunk?
Yeah, I've never run after drinking. When I have something else, when I drink beer, I never run after that. I think
that would be horrible. Yeah, that'd be horrible.
I think I will explode if I do that.
I think you will explode. And sometimes you see people throwing up along the trail because I don't mean to be disgusting, but some people drink these energy drinks, which have high caffeine. So and it's been very hot in Texas lately, really, really hot, like dangerous hot. But some people will, and people of all different ages, people that are, 19, 29, 39, 49, they'll get up, and then before they go to work, they'll get their shorts and whatnot on, their running shoes and their watch and their timer and then maybe they're hungover from the night before, so they'll have a Red Bull energy drink, and then they'll start to run, and then it starts to get hot, and it's only like 9:30 in the morning, and you'll see people throwing up on the side of the hike and bike trail because that's just too much in a person's system. So I don't. It's illegal to drink and drive in Texas, but people do it. But I think that running and drinking doesn't go together.
Speaking about how much or too much, how much does it take you to get a hangover?
I don't get hangovers usually.
Really? You never had a hangover?
I usually don't get hangovers because I only drink liquor. I never drink mixed drinks, and I don't drink stupid drinks. And I eat before I drink. I always eat before I drink. So I'll have like protein in my stomach. I'll have like a steak or meatball or spaghettis or carbs. So I always have like a layer of protein in there. And I can drink a lot. And I used to drink with David and his cousin Eric. Those guys could drink all night long, and then you'd wake up and just drink Bloody Marys again. So if you constantly drink, you don't get a hangover. Now that's the way David and Eric used to drink. It was just constantly drink. I
hate hangovers. I remember one day I mixed beer, vodka, and liquor and whiskey. I think I mixed everything that I could lay my hands on, and it was like the worst day of my life.
Yeah, that's another thing is I generally just stick with one thing. I went out with this one guy once, and that guy drank everything. He drank drank this one drink called Sex on the Beach. He did tequila shots. He was drinking Fireball shots. That guy was throwing up. And when you're on a date and a guy comes out of the bathroom after having been throwing up, like it kind of like ruins the vibe of the date. But he drank everything. He mixed it all up. But generally, if I'm going to drink, I like to dance. So if I like to hold a beer bottle. So I'm thinking I'm going to go in and I'm going to order this beer. I always know what I'm going to do before I go in. So I'll order this beer. And then if somebody wants to do shots, I'll do a tequila shot. So tequila and beer would go together. Or let's suppose it's winter time and I just want to have a shot of whiskey and my coffee in the morning. I'll do that. And then if I go over to someone's house and they're drinking Bloody Marys, I won't do that. I'll just continue coffee and whiskey because coffee and whiskey will go together.
I thought you were going to say you'll just continue with coffee and aspirin.
No, I don't really take aspirin because for me, I generally use Tylenol. And for me, a little baby aspirin isn't going to do a thing for me. Like an aspirin is like for like a squirrel. I mean, you're tall, you're a big guy, I'm tall. An aspirin would be like, I don't use aspirins. But how do you feel about using aspirins?
I've noticed that I sleep better after I have a pill or two. But I'm afraid that, as you said, they can burn a hole in your stomach if you take them regularly. So I kind of stay away. But now and then I think, why don't I take a pill? Because the sleep after that is so good. the good sleep is luxury these days.
No, I agree that sleep is at a premium because of many different reasons. We have a lot going on in our lives, but if it works for you, I don't. Remember everything in moderation, even drunkenness in moderation. But
if you have a beer or two, do you think it will help you to sleep?
No, beer doesn't help me sleep. I mean, I don't drink beer to sleep. I go drink beer to look good on the dance floor. And then I come home and I already have coffee ready. And then I'll have a little bit of coffee. Then I go to sleep because I like warm drinks before I go to sleep. I don't know.
Okay,
You know,
thanks for sharing.
some people have, I mean, there's during the pandemic, everyone's behavior was very different, but we're not exactly in the pandemic right now. But I generally, I would not consider myself an alcoholic. I grew up in an alcoholic family and I have brothers that are alcoholics and I have sisters that have other drugs of choice. But generally, I don't keep beer at home. But a lot of people, if they open their fridge and there's no beer there, they're having an anxiety attack. They have to have beer in their fridge.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's nice. I mean, if you have friends coming and going, you want to have some beer. If I have some friends coming over, maybe I'll pick up some beer, and then people will cook out and grill some stuff, and then they bring some beer. If you're having people over, but I spent some time with a person who liked to drink alone in the dark. I'm not even kidding you. And you know, I had to divorce that guy because we were going nowhere fast. But you know, he went on to medical school and he's now living in Las Vegas. But anyhow, these are all true stories. But I do like to have whiskey. I'm more like a whiskey person. Like I need to have a whiskey and a bottle of vodka, not vodka, tequila, because tequila you can mix with orange juice and it's just called a screwdriver. So that's, I kind of think of that as like a breakfast drink. Well, with eggs, you know, scrambled eggs or something like that. And then, so in terms of what would I really always want to have at home, like I like to have a bottle of whiskey and I like to have a bottle of tequila. But like right now, I'm drinking, well, right now I was just drinking water. But in general, I'm drinking like whiskey and like a Coca-Cola. Someone's going to come by.
How about chocolate milk? Do you drink chocolate milk?
Yeah, I love chocolate milk. I love chocolate milk with donuts. Chocolate milk with donuts? Yeah. But you know what people are drinking a lot in Dallas lately?
What?
It's disgusting. Coffee martinis, and it has foam in it. It's like disgusting. They're very expensive. Like I just like a classic martini, but it's almost like chocolate milk. I took a sip of one. It was disgusting. You know, if I'm going to dance or hang out with people and talk, I do not want my whole stomach full of like vodka and coffee and foam. That's another recipe for disaster.
Say that again. What's it made of? I mean, how do you make a coffee martini?
They're just very popular. So I don't drink them, but I've seen them and I've seen people drink them. It's a martini glass that's cold and chilled. It has, I think, a little bit of coffee espresso in it, has vodka in it. It has a little tiny bit of foamed milk on the top. And then they might just put a coffee bean at the top to float it on the top to be kind of aesthetically pleasing. And then they're like at fancy nightclubs. People be like sipping it, and it's people who like to go to really fancy nightclubs and wear like strapless tops, and guys that have like amazing suits. They're drinking. Look, mainly, it's a girl's drink, a coffee martini. And they are more expensive than just a classic martini.
I don't know, espresso and vodka. They doesn't add up.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It adds up in the bathroom throwing up.
I don't know, vodka, coffee and vodka. Maybe I should try that myself. I just don't know the proportions.
Okay, but don't mix it up in a soup bowl. No, the idea is there is a well, you can look it up online. If you have a martini glass and it's chilled,
Now,
And then you make,
what am I having at breakfast? At my morning coffee cup of joy, right? Can I put some like vodka in it
no,
and make it a little bit
no,
better?
hell no. Stop that.
Why?
Stop it. Our subscribers have to quickly make you stop doing the things that you're doing.
But
Stop
I like
unmuting.
coffee.
Okay, but listen. Okay. Do you generally like a shot of vodka before you go to work? No.
No, but maybe I will because it will be good coffee.
No, just wait a second. Okay. Vodka is a nighttime drink. It's happy hour. David Anton made just classic, you know, vodka, like the dirty martini, just like, Sean Connery and 007. But like, if you want to go to work, you have to think about what you're doing. So I would suggest that you make like the Jezve coffee, Lavazza or Mehmet Effendi, then let it cool down a little bit. Let it cool down to be room temperature. Then I don't think a mug, you want a mug? Okay, a small mug, not a huge mug. Get a mug. Be sure it's real clean and dry. And then I would put your either like a shot glass or maybe a half of a shot glass of vodka in the coffee mug, maybe a half shot of vodka. If you like it a little bit sweet, into the espresso coffee that's lukewarm or maybe a little bit warm. Put a little bit of sugar, then pour it in there. Or do it the other way around. Do you want the whole thing to be hot or do you want the whole thing to be lukewarm? What do you want when you're drinking it?
I don't know. I have to try it first. But I remember that movie. Do you ever watched Big Lebowski? He had this big he had that White Russian cocktail. I think he mixed vodka and coffee in it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
With ice cream, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. And I used to like Kahlua. Kahlua is coffee based. Kahlua and cream. I used to drink Kahlua and cream on the rock. Well,
I don't know what Kahlua is.
Kahlua is a coffee based liqueur that comes out of Mexico. And I used to, when I went into Mexico, when I was in college, we would always come back with bottles of Kahlua and bottles of tequila that had a worm in it. A worm in the bottle was a very amazing thing when you're in college. Like you're coming back with Kahlua and tequila. And remember, you're college age. What did you drink when you were in college?
Everything. I'm serious.
Yeah.
No, I can't drink the beer. Even I have a six-pack. I never have a six-pack a day, but still, sometimes I get such a heavy hangover. I don't know how I managed that in my college years.
What kinds of things did you drink in college? Like, for example?
Everything, basically whiskey and cola and soda, you call it.
Yeah.
And also brandy and everything which comes with soda was my favorite.
You mean like a Coca-Cola or something like that?
Yeah, if you pour some cola into whiskey or into brandy.
Like Jack and Coke. Yeah, Jack and Coke. That's a classic drink. Yeah, But this Kahlua is a little bit thick. Like Grand Marnier is a French liqueur that has orange citrus notes in it. It's when you pour it on ice cream or when you make crepe Suzettes, it's a little tiny bit thick. Well, Kahlua, I think you will really like that. You can get that at a liquor store. Get Kahlua. Get a bottle of Kahlua. And then this will be great for you because it's already got the alcohol in it. And then go ahead and make your coffee, whatever coffee you like. And let's say you have just an average size mug, not huge. Go ahead and put your hot coffee in it and then put in a shot of Kahlua. That way you'll have the alcohol You'll have the sweetness and it'll be hot. I think that'd be better than messing around with any kind of vodka.
Wait, what if so you mean if I mixed vodka and that Kahlua,
That
I'm
would be
gonna get some
awful.
kind of
No, everything you thought is wrong.
But what if I mix vodka and Kahlua? Would that be, I don't know, something
God,
tasty?
no, I would like throw up. If I met a guy that did stuff like that, that would be like a red flag. Like this guy is like completely out of his mind.
Well, now I must try it.
I don't know. I mean, you like vodka because you're Russian, so you've got like a whole vodka vibe going on. And my friend David Anton is basically a vodka guy, but he drinks vodka and cranberry juice at happy hour, like vodka cranberry. Or he'll just do double shots of Tito's, which is a Texas vodka. But for breakfast, he would probably, his girlfriend and I like whiskey. So we would usually do whiskey and coffee. But since, you have had a lot of vodka in your lifetime, probably your stomach is used to it and your stomach would say like, oh yes, this is my friend vodka. I personally don't think vodka would go very well with coffee because vodka is a clear, cold kind of thing. I don't know. What do you want to do? Vodka and coffee? Oh,
vodka and Kahlua.
No.
Yeah, I think I would like to try that. But
okay, you better get a big.
We don't have Kahlua. I've never heard of it before, but maybe I'll find it.
Yeah, you can find it. You can. I think now they have these services that will deliver liquor to your door. My friend Haley, who's David's girlfriend, sort of. They have it takes 7 minutes to drive to Goody Goody, and then across the street from there is another liquor store. Like it would take you 7 to 10 minutes to drive to a liquor store, but now they do home delivery. So you can just take your app on your phone, load it, and then, they'll bring it to your door and you just tip the guy at your door and you can just stay home and drink all the time. Can you do that in your city? Do they have home delivery of liquor?
Yeah, we do. Lots of it. Yeah, and now I'm thinking that we've covered so many topics, but not specifically the beer. But anyway, it was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah, and I would also like to suggest that you consider the possibility of throwing some protein in your stomach before you throw Kahlua and vodka. So eat some sausages or go kill a deer or something venison, some kind of protein in your stomach.
No, I never do that because if you eat and you drink, you'll never get
that's
drunk.
what David
So
Anton
basically,
says.
I always drink when I'm empty, and
Yeah, that's how he drinks too. He doesn't want to ruin his drinking by throwing in a sausage or a meatball.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, we hope that our listeners will be safe and drink responsibly, whether they're drinking beer or vodka or, cocktails. And thanks for listening. And we're going to have a couple other episodes coming up, interviewing our friend Mark Stevens II, talking about bridges and trains. So come back for more beer and bridges. Adios.